I'm Dale Smith for Looney Politics, and leading up to the budget and in the time since it's been released, we've had another round of Pierre Poilievre insisting that there are inflationary deficits and government money printing that are making the cost of living rise, and that's making everything more expensive, and therefore you need the Conservatives to get the deficit under control, and that will make cost of living easier. Problem is, none of that is actually true. The deficits are not contributing to inflation. There is no money printing happening. There has not been money printing happening even during the pandemic. And a lot of the things that they are attributing to inflation are as a result of things like climate change, most especially food price inflation. The notion that government deficits are making food more expensive is laughable, and yet it gets repeated day in and day out, and nobody on the government side will actually correct this. Now, we know what the drivers of food price inflation are. Most of it is climate change because of droughts in food-producing regions, not only in Canada, but in other places around the world. Extreme weather, things like hurricanes in Florida, decimating orange crops, that all has an impact on food prices. The war in Ukraine has an impact on food prices globally, but also things like Trump's tariffs. A good example of that is coffee. Now, coffee is one of the things that Poilievre likes to complain about prices rising every single time in question period. The thing that's happening there is that Brazil, in order to push back against Trump's tariffs, have stopped releasing coffee beans to the market. That means that every other country who is supplying them is now in a bidding war, and that's driving up prices. The whole point why Brazil is doing that is to make things uncomfortable for the Americans. It's working. Trump has announced he's reducing tariffs on these things. But none of that has to do with Canadian government spending. But that's what Poilievre is insisting is driving these prices up. It's not. And it absolutely mystifies me. We have a former central banker for a prime minister who knows what drives inflation and who could, on any given day, tell Poilievre, no, that's not how inflation works. But he doesn't, and he won't. And it just absolutely baffles me why he won't, because it lets this disinformation, and it is disinformation, fester in the marketplace of public discourse. People think that Poilievre understands economics because he talks like this and nobody says otherwise. Everything he's saying is nonsense. It is absolutely complete, utter nonsense. And members of the government should actually point that out, but they don't. And this is a growing problem for why the government can't get its message through. There's so much disinformation floating out there around what is causing the cost of living crisis that they're letting these absolute wrong-headed notions take residence in the minds of Canadians, and they won't actually do anything about that. And that's a problem, and it's something they should really address as they're going around, just instead of patting themselves in the back with a budget. For Looney Politics, I'm Dale Smith.